On the Julian Dorey podcast, Danny Sheehan gives his theology, and it's interesting to learn theology from a famed lawyer. Let me know what you think in the comments below.
Entity. This is that whole mistake that people make. This is not a noun that we're talking about here. This is a field of infinite and eternal consciousness, and there's no noun to it. It's a verb. It's a non-transitive verb of being. And that's what people get confused about.
Wait, yeah, what do you mean by that? I'm still confused.
What I'm saying is that one of the major heresies of all religious understandings is to try to nounify what they call God. They've developed this word for it.
Yeah.
It's a noun, and they talk about it like it's a person that you're talking to, like a great white bearded guy sitting on a throne somewhere, right? To nounify this is a heresy. That's why you're never allowed to pronounce the name, right? It's a heresy to announce the name.
To say God?
Yes, because then you've nounified it, and it's not a noun. That it's a phenomenon. It's a consciousness
bigger than language
that abides. That's right. That it's a misjudgment. A fundamental misjudgment, because you're basically off by one, in that if you don't understand that the field of consciousness is not a noun, but it's a non entity.
But for purposes of what people out there do use in common parlance, in this case, they do use the word God.
Sure,
you are saying that consciousness is effectively where God resides.
That's right. Well, again, you're still nounifying. What it is your location of your consciousness at the nodal point at the core of your being, that you have an unconditioned experience of consciousness. And I say unconditioned by your place of birth, unconditioned by your nationality, unconditioned by your genetic makeup of the physical body that you're incarnated in, unconditioned by your astrological predilections, the tractor forces that you've been exposed to in gestating in your mother's womb, in the time and place of your gestation, those kind of tractor forces like that, for example, suck billions of tons of water off onto one side of the planet every single day. These kind of tractor forces that you're exposed to by the celestial bodies that generates the whole science of astrology, as to why it is that an excellent astrologer, they could sit down with you, and by knowing exactly where the time and place was of your gestation, actually,
right,
it could start telling you what your favorite color is, what your mate looks like, what your favorite political attitudes are. And you sit there and a grown person will cry right in front of them by going, wait a second, somebody's been talking to you. Some of my friends have set this up, I
feel like every chick I talk to these days is doing that.
Well, they'll see right through you on that. And so what I'm saying is that in the incarnated state that our consciousness is in, is that we reside in a vehicle that is conditioned, and therefore our direct experience of reality is conditioned by these predilections that we have in our body. And part of the science of theology is how to rise above that. How you fast, and therefore you're not consuming the foods that affect you. That you don't drink alcohol, you don't do the drugs, you don't do that kind of stuff unless you're really having a good night on Saturday nights. But
I'll take you to Deer Maud later. We'll do it.
You try to refrain from that. And so once you start recognizing that there's this issue about consciousness. And that you can, in fact, direct your own consciousness and start elevating your consciousness into a higher and higher state, that you can then discern things a lot more objectively. Okay, and that from that point of perspective, you can make judgments that are less biased, that are less predisposed toward your ethnic background or something like that, so that's your consciousness, that's your conscience, that's what's there. Okay, and so that there's a science to this whole thing, and when you're in they were quite I guess, pleasantly surprised that I was aware of all of that.